Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Cast of Kings,
We're the Queen.
January 4th, 2019. 2019. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Woo woo.
First show of the new year.
I'm honored because I'm on the first show of the new year.
Bruce Curtin, Bruce K.
Valerie.
Kenny couldn't make it. Kenny is always somewhere else. Philadelphia,
Who didn't shake it?
Washington, Miami, whatever. We call him International Ken.
Woo.
But anyway, you got us, and we're ready to get started. Talk about what's going on in the world.
Yeah. Lots.
Where should we start? I guess the main thing, we got to talk about it, although we hate to talk about it. The crazy orange professor, Sir Donald, douchebag von fuckface, as they call him.
Trumpelstiltskin.
Just completely wilding out. He feels the noose tighten around his neck. He's got all this stuff going on, legal trouble, political battles.
Yep.
The
usual.
The usual.
The usual.
Good thing is, Democrats have taken over the House.
Yes.
So we get a little balance, some checks and balances on him.
Yes.
This whole wall situation is crazy.
It's really not even about the wall. As we all know, it's about this man's ego. I think we were discussing earlier today that Senator Schumer said that Trump intimated that, this whole government shutdown could last months. Like he kind of indicated, he hinted towards, he hinted towards, this shutdown continuing for several months or even a year. Now, that's not going to happen.
That's crazy.
The Democrats aren't going to let it happen. The problem is that we have a president who's okay with saying something like that. I mean, he's reckless. This is a child that's not getting his way. And
temper tantrum.
That affects millions of people. That's the thing.
But how can the Democrats prevent it? Because he has the veto power, right? Like
he does.
It passes the House, it goes to the Senate, whether or not they pass it already, although they already passed it, basically the same bill.
Yeah.
And then it goes to his desk, and if he's not going to sign it, then it just, if he doesn't sign it for 10 days, it goes into law anyway, right? So he basically has to veto it.
He does have to veto it.
So.
I mean, it's unfortunate that this little man right now is retaining this much power. I really don't know what's going to happen. I cannot foresee, Congress as a whole allowing this to continue for too long. This man clearly just doesn't care. He has,
not at all.
None. And he doesn't know what he's doing. So it's one thing to know what you're doing and not care. It's more dangerous to not care and you don't even really know what you're doing. And that's the horrible part. One thing that I could say, and this might sound a little heartless, but hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from. I do believe that there are some people that are going to be affected by this government shutdown that did vote for him. And so it's unfortunate. You don't wish any economic hardship on anyone. But sometimes, in order for people to wake up, they've got to feel the effects of, something that they supported that maybe they shouldn't have. They supported this man, and now some of his supporters who are government employees are feeling the effects of supporting such a man. So maybe they'll think twice if indeed he runs for re-election. And hopefully that could be one small positive thing that comes out of something that's so horrific. But who knows?
Yeah, I just think this shows that he's completely out of touch because he came out and said that the government workers support this move.
He don't even know.
And then there was some government federal workers union or whatever that was vehemently opposed to it.
Yeah.
So, he always lies.
Always.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Never.
He has no ability to understand what the person who lives paycheck to paycheck deals with because
clue.
This Friday is the first Friday that they're going to miss a paycheck.
Yes.
And then it starts to mount from there. So
yes.
Bills are going to keep coming.
Right.
Are they going to waive their debt that they run up while they're not getting paid if it goes on for 6 months?
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
It's just another example of him being completely out of touch and self-serving and not, in it just for political gain.
And for what?
I don't even know if it's political gain.
It's not even
nothing to
political gain. You know, I
It's
believe.
just, it's his last
Yeah.
thing that he has to hang his hat on one of his campaign promises.
But the funny thing is he ran on a campaign promise of this wall being funded
paid
by
by
Mexico.
Mexico. I
And
know.
ultimately it's being funded by us. And he doesn't even know what form that this wall is even going to, like, I think the last thing I heard was that he said it's like some electrical fence or it's some whatever, and it's not going to, you know, run across the whole border. I mean, it's a, I almost said a bad word. It's a,
Really?
yeah, I'm trying to think of another word
Fudge.
than, right, exactly. It's just terrible. So
Fudging.
he's holding up, you know, government for something he doesn't even have a real plan for. Meanwhile, people who probably more than likely live paycheck to paycheck are about to really start to suffer. And furthermore, these are individuals who more than likely look forward to a refund check, right? We're getting into tax season here very soon. Who knows if the government shutdown continues, IRS can't fund, you know, how are all of these things going to work out? And then I don't even want to start to talk about people who, for the first time, maybe ever, may get a very reduced refund or maybe have to pay the government because of the tax laws that he wrote into law last year that are going to be taking effect now that people have totally forgotten about. So, you know, again, you never want to wish ill on anyone, but I'm hoping that the deleterious effects of what this man has done in office is felt by the people that supported him, and it starts to make them think twice.
Yeah, it's going to be, you know, plus the Smithsonian's are shutting down.
Yes.
You know, all these government or federal landmarks
Yeah.
and points of interest
Yep.
are going to have to start shutting down.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the government. How can you?
Right.
How can you not have the basic functions
That's right.
working and hold them hostage when they had
That's
nothing
right.
to do with this?
America's
for a
being
wall
held
that most
hostage.
people don't want or don't care about. And if you were running a business
Yeah.
and you had a project that you wanted to complete and you went to the board of directors and said, I need $5 billion for this project, but I don't really have a plan
I don't have
for
a
what
plan.
it is. I don't even know how I'm going to spend this money yet.
Right.
And I don't know what the complete cost is going to be. They
That's
would
right.
laugh. You actually would be fired. You'd be run out of there.
That's exactly
And the fact
right.
that he's asking for this money and he can't articulate what he's going to do with it is just crazy. And even if it's going to work or not, you know?
That's
so,
the bigger question. Is this even an effective option when you're talking about border security? Like, how viable is this option? This man hasn't even allowed the complete vetting of options for border security. He just says a wall, has hung his hat on this wall, and knows nothing else. It's ridiculous. America is being held hostage for something that's so ridiculous, so stupid, and more than likely is completely ineffective and will do more harm than good in alienating our allies in the world and really not, you know, preventing anyone from coming over to this country. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I think there's got to be a better way.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is.
For the immigrants to get into this country.
Possibly, but you know
I think
what?
we could hide them in taco trucks and come across the border.
That is so racist. But
No, why?
also,
It's coming from Mexico. Why not?
but also, it's interesting how throughout all of these discussions of border security and things of that nature, somehow the people in office and everyone who is up in arms about border security fails to realize that all of us are immigrants. All of us are immigrants to this country, and so it's this
Except
whole
for the
us
Native
against,
Americans.
except for the Native Americans. So this whole us against them mentality really doesn't make sense. But that's another discussion for another time. But I just find it so interesting how heated this debate is when the people who are discussing it can trace their family history back to other countries other than this one. So,
Yeah,
you know,
well, it's all about brown people.
that's true. Always about brown people.
Just like Melania is an immigrant, but
Yes,
that
she
doesn't
is.
seem to be an issue.
Not at
So,
all.
No.
And she can't even be best. She's been here long enough, still can't speak English correctly. Let me stop before I start making some of your viewers upset. Anyway.
My viewers are cool with it.
That's true.
They feel it.
Be best viewers.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. He gets me heated.
Okay.
And this is our
Nothing else
first.
about politics? No, that's it.
I mean, I think right now, I think the only other thing that we can talk about is Nancy Pelosi. And what I will say about Nancy Pelosi, everyone is saying, yay, Nancy Pelosi. But this is the time for Nancy Pelosi to really show us what she's made of. I believe that thus far, not that she's had an easy go of it in Congress. I mean, this is a formidable woman who's definitely taken on a lot, you know, with the white males in Congress. But this is where we're going to see what she's really, really made of. Because this man, as you said, holding the veto power, she's got, you know, Republican Senate and things of that nature. So I'm happy that she got reelected, but I'm waiting to see what she does. This is her time to really show us what she's made of. Meanwhile, Auntie Maxine, who is in charge of the Finance Committee, we already know she's going to show us what she's made of. So I'm just waiting to see how she...
All of them. Adam
maneuvers
Schiff,
it, all of them, absolutely.
Cummins, that, you know, I'm sure she's trying to hold them back, because they have an agenda.
Yes.
But I will say that Nancy Pelosi is going to appear to be even more savvy because she's up against a mental midget, right? Like if it was someone else who could match wits with her, Bill Clinton,
for sure.
Obama, somebody, even, you know, Papa Bush for sure.
Maybe.
George, okay, not so much, but better than Donald. But the fact that she can run circles around Donald in her sleep, that it's not really much to, you know, and not to say that she's not capable, but it's going to be even that much more apparent when she has to match her wits with him because she's not against her equal at all.
No, but I think what we're going to have to see is how strategic she could be. It's one thing for Nancy Pelosi to be articulate and you know, intelligent and aptly describe the American condition as it relates to the economy and things that are happening right now. But it's another thing for her to figure out how to be strategic in dealing with this man that has veto power. And that's what's going to be interesting. How strategic can you be? I understand that you are an educated woman and you are fabulous with words, but how great is your strategy? That's going to be the test because you've got to strategize around an idiot and his cohorts in the Senate in order to really get things done. So I'm waiting to see.
The only other thing I could think about in politics is Elizabeth Warren announcing that she's running for president.
Elizabeth Warren said,
Wasn't
I'm
really
going
completely
for it.
psyched about that at first. I mean,
wasn't.
she seems like kind of the Hillary Clinton model. But then I heard her speaking the other night, and she just seems a lot more genuine. The fact that she was a professor at Harvard and actually wrote
law professor.
about the disparity in income and the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
Kind of made me appreciate her position a little bit more, and the fact that at least she is in touch with maybe those parts of the people in those parts of the country that the Clinton campaign ignored and didn't take into account in their strategy. So, don't know if she would be my number one choice. I still think that being a woman is a big hill to climb.
It is still.
And I don't know who else. The problem is I don't know who else I can name in the Democratic Party who would be a clear front runner.
You know, I hate to say it because I wasn't really on the bandwagon for this particular person to run against Trump as people wanted him to. But, you know, the only other person I can think of is Joe Biden. You know, mainly because we know that Biden's track record is great. He's been able to reach across the aisle a gajillion times and has friends, you know, that are Republican as well as Democrat, and he could potentially get things done. I think what we have to think about, which is what Bernie Sanders made us think about, is not how popular you are with the people. That is very important. But your ability to be effective and get things done. And I think for me, although I did like many of Bernie's policies, I still didn't feel that he was going to be effective and get those things accomplished. So you kind of have to balance those two. With Elizabeth Warren, I'm not sure. You know, I think she is liked, but I'm sure she has her enemies as well. That's nothing new. But I think, you know, to kind of clean up this mess that Trumpelstiltskin is creating, you need to have someone in there who has those relationships and is able to kind of sit down, you know, and speak with, you know, all different types of people in Congress to really try and right this ship and get things done. So I would say Joe Biden, but it seems as if he's not interested, unfortunately.
And is Joe too old? I mean, is he going to get the young people out that you have to get out to win? Because evidence shows that the more people come out to vote, the more likely it is to tip to the Democratic side. So I don't know if the millennials and the Gen Xers, younger Gen Xers, are going to feel that urgency to come out.
Right.
Where maybe someone like Kamala Harris.
I don't think she's ready yet. And Kamala Harris, first of all, HU. She's a graduate of Howard, so
Hampton?
I love her. But I don't
Harvard?
think that she's ready yet. She did go to Harvard, but I don't think she's ready yet. As much as I love her, I think there's still a little bit more, maybe one more. Yeah. And I don't think it has to necessarily do with governance as much as I think it has to do with how politics happens and operates.
So why does she have to do that and Obama didn't?
I think it's different for every person. I don't think it has anything to do with gender whatsoever. I think it has to just do with a person and their convictions and their strong vision for the country. And I think what drove Obama and his success was just the strength of his convictions for the vision that he saw for this country. And I'm not saying that Kamala doesn't have her own vision for the country, but I think the strength of what that vision is and her conviction for that vision isn't something that is strongly apparent yet, but I do believe that it can become strong. She can solidify that vision and maybe the next go round be in prime shape to be a top
So what about
contender.
Cory Booker?
Same thing.
Anybody else?
Same thing. That's the thing. I mean, I've thought about it, like who is ready and who could potentially, and I can't. And the thing is, I like Elizabeth Warren. She championed people who have student loans and talked about that whole situation.
She's Native American.
Yes. So I've loved Elizabeth Warren for a very long time, but like you, I'm kind of lukewarm on...
She should have run last time, actually.
Exactly, but they sat her down.
Yeah.
They sat her down, and that was her time. Timing is a big thing, and I think her time was last time, but they wanted Hillary so badly.
That was a mistake.
Well, we know that now.
Yeah.
I don't really think a lot of us knew how much of a mistake Hillary was going to be until after it all happened.
It was the angry pantsuits.
No, that's...
If it wasn't for that, she would have, 300,000 votes here or there. That's what it was.
That's crazy.
It was like grandma in an angry pantsuit.
Well, and then, on top of that, we still have to, and we don't want to take up too much time talking about this, but we still have to talk about the Electoral College. I mean, this was basically, like to be able to have a win in the popular vote but still lose the overall election due to the archaic Electoral College system, which really does not reflect the country at all. It made sense when it was implemented. It makes no sense now. But that's something that a president has to actually address when he or she is in office. And by the time you get into the office, you have so many other things to address that that's just not a priority.
So you're not thinking about it.
Exactly.
And
so
especially if you got in office by benefit of the Electoral College.
That's right.
You have no
incentive
to change it.
That's right.
So moving on.
Did you see, and I know you didn't because you were in bed, spoiler alert, we lived together, but the game last night, did you read about it?
No, I did not.
It was crazy. Well, let me get you up to date because you could still give your opinion on it. So basically, this is the Warriors in Houston last night. And the game was really, really good. Houston came back, actually, from I think they might have been down at one point by 20-something. And they came back to win in overtime by 1 point. But the kicker of the whole thing was that there was a play late in overtime where Durant was trying to save the ball from going out of bounds. He saves the ball, throws it back in, and the play goes. And, long story short, I think in that play, Houston gets called for a foul, whatever. The problem is this. In Durant saving the ball, he's clearly out of bounds, and the refs didn't call it. And it was on...
They wanted to go home.
I guess so. I guess so. So now they're saying that the refs are doing this Bird Box challenge. If you viewers out there have watched Bird Box on Netflix, and there's all these memes with the refs, with like these blindfolds over their eyes because it was ridiculously obvious from their point of view that he was out of bounds.
So no chance they could have missed it,
I mean, I will say it happened very, very fast, but I think that's what the refs get paid for, to see the things that we can't see. They're paid to watch every little thing. I mean, we've seen refs call out of bounds where we can only see it on instant replay, and it's like a toe out of bounds. This one, I mean, he was completely out of bounds, almost in the stands, and they didn't call it.
What was the game, in Houston? Or
I want to say it was in Oakland. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Hometown, advantage.
Could be, but you know what? This is what happens, and I'm a Warriors fan. But in the end, Harden shoots a three he shoots a three with 1.3 seconds left for them to win the game. And I was very happy about that because they deserved it. They played hard, but because the refs missed that call, it was like, yeah, they deserve to win. So, crazy game.
That game.
Yeah, it was good. Very good.
NBA is heating up this year. We got some surprise teams up
Woo,
on top.
the Nuggets. When's the last time
Nuggets.
you heard anybody talk about the Nuggets? Toronto. I mean, that's Vince Carter, Torontoville. Toronto's not always been out of the mix.
Toronto has always been on the East, like one of the top
That's
seeds.
right.
And they fold in the playoffs.
That's right.
Now they have Kawhi. We'll see how that works out in the playoffs.
Baby, Kawhi was on it.
Well, Kawhi has been balling for years.
But when he was tired of playing with the Spurs, he did a Chris Webber and acted like he was injured because he didn't want to play with them no more. I called you out, Chris Webber. You know, and I know that's what you did.
You should, because the Spurs are doing all right. They're on a winning streak without him.
Yeah, and they won last night.
Yeah.
They won last night. Pop is one of the greatest coaches. He's definitely in my top 5 coaches. Popovich, love him.
We got the Pelicans. Anthony Davis is balling.
AD.
Rumors that he may try and go to L.A. LeBron's trying to pull strings again like he normally does.
We would love it. We would love it.
Just can't play on his own.
No.
I like him.
I love AD. That would be beautiful.
You got the Celtics.
Yeah. Come on. Kyrie is sick.
I think Philly took a step back.
Do you think that's because they're still trying to figure out what to do with Jimmy? Or is it just Philly?
I think it's Philly. I think there's a couple things.
Could be.
Ben Simmons can't shoot.
And
everybody has figured that out.
Yep.
So you can leave him alone and challenge him to shoot.
Yeah.
Markelle Fultz is now completely done. So, I think Jimmy Butler adds something to the team, but then Jimmy Butler has kind of had problems everywhere he's gone. Not that he can't play.
Right.
But I don't know if he can play in a team environment.
Yeah.
So, and they've had strong personalities. Joel Embiid.
Yeah, he's got a very strong personality.
Not necessarily strong personality, but has been one of the leaders of the team. And now you add somebody new and changes the chemistry.
Yeah.
At the same time, the Celtics, made it to the playoffs without Kyrie, and then you got Kyrie back. So
Kyrie is just so nasty with it.
Bit of a challenge.
Good Lord, that boy is nasty. I love watching him play.
Giannis.
Oh, the Greek freak.
Staking a claim. MVP candidate, front runner, or
well deserved
in the mix.
Well deserved.
You got this rookie at Dallas, Luka Doncic.
Yeah,
balling, 19 years old.
Can you believe it?
Big man, slow, but knows how to get open and knows how to hoop. High basketball IQ. So
you know who I'm waiting on though? Can I just tell you people who I'm waiting on? And he was supposed to make his debut this month. Is Boogie. I'm waiting on Boogie. Come on. You got 1 season, 1 year contract with us. Come on, Boogie. We waiting on you. And he's still on the sidelines. Now, I'm not trying to rush him because an Achilles is a beast.
Achilles is tough.
But Boogie wanted to come back early. They told him no, and I'm glad he sat down. But they had predicted that Boogie would be back in January 2019. Now, the month just started. So I'm going to just calm myself down. But I'm going to tell you, I'm waiting on Boogie because that boy is good.
I think you ease Boogie in, give him limited minutes.
Yeah.
Allow his body a chance to adjust to the rigors of
like they did Gordon Hayward.
Gameplay, and let him work his way into shape for the playoff run.
Right.
No need to rush him in.
That's right.
You still got more than half the season to go.
Yeah.
It's a wear and tear on your body.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that he's not necessarily an athletic center like a Giannis, that injury may have less of an impact on his game than it would someone else.
Oh, that's very true.
So,
that's very true.
We'll see. Let's talk about Bird Box. You mentioned it.
Ooh, have y'all seen
thoughts?
Bird Box? Woo! Well, because, we don't know who out there has seen it and who hasn't seen it, I don't want to say too much about it.
Spoiler alert.
for sure. But
Here's
it
my
was
question.
it was good. Yeah.
The brother,
Fine. Not as fine as you, baby.
thank you, suddenly has this crazy attraction for Sandra Bullock's character, like from day one.
Yeah, off the bat.
She's older than him.
A little, yeah.
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 Maybe not in the show, but she's like, what, in her 50s? He's probably 30.
First of all, are you talking about in real life or in the show?
Yeah, in real life. How old is she?
I don't think Sandra Bullock is 50 yet, but
No.
I mean,
So,
maybe
mid to late
close to
40s.
it. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
close to it. I would give her close to it.
And then they lived together for 5 more years
But I think in the movie, they're closer in age, I believe.
and have no more kids.
Yeah.
How is that?
That's a very good question, actually, and that is in.
Were they practicing self-sex? Like, where were they getting condoms from? They couldn't go out and, like, risk their lives to go out just to get some condoms.
No, but when they would go out, they would
So you think
take
they were
whatever they
stocking
would
up?
see. I guess, and this is what it's like to live with him. This
But-
is exactly
but
what
condoms have
it's
an
like.
expiration
Questions
date,
like this.
Right? So let's say it was 5 years, and you go and you get some expired condoms. Is that what you're gonna trust for birth control? I'm just asking. I
don't think
just
those
thought-
are the types of questions that they pondered, the need to answer in making Bird Box, but,
It's a legitimate question.
legitimate questions
Were they
nonetheless,
raiding the
but it's
drugstores
not
for
something that I think
Orthonovum,
they were expecting to answer for the
20
viewing
milligram.
public. But I don't know the answer to that, but what are your overall thoughts of Bird Box? I have a
thought-
very spiritual take on it. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I didn't go that deep. I thought it was a good
Deep,
movie.
y'all. I'm deep.
It wasn't what I expected. People were talking about it. You got to see this. You got to see this,
Yeah.
and I kind of enjoyed it.
I really did too.
Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Well, you know what I appreciate? I think because it was so out of the box and so different, what I appreciated was that what you said, people would say, oh, you gotta watch it, but they wouldn't explain it. Now, it could be because they couldn't. It's one of these movies where it is kind of difficult to explain or it's left up to many interpretations, but that's what I appreciated, that there wasn't anything that spoiled the viewing of it. And I kind of still think it's like that. I think when people are talking about Bird Box, unless you've seen it, I don't think there's anything, at least that I've seen on social media, that gives any of it away, really.
It's kind of hard to give it away because
It
it's hard
is.
to explain.
Yeah, but
I
it's
just
so
wonder
good
if
if you
people
haven't
who were
seen it.
smoking weed and if they, were they immune to whatever this was, right? Because you're thinking, oh, I'm a little buzzed and everything's beautiful anyway. How much more beautiful could this thing be if I'm on like some orange kush or something? You know what I'm saying?
Again,
That's all I'm saying.
technically a legitimate question, but not one that the creators of Bird Box were trying to answer for you in the making of the movie.
If you
So
were
don't have to worry
momentarily
about that.
crazy, would that help you avoid your spirit getting taken over?
What else can we talk about? You're out of control. You are out of control, Whoopi. We love you.
On that note,
Yeah,
that's our show.
that's our show. Happy New Year. Let's
Check
hope-
us out, the Cast of Kings. We
With the
broadcast
queen, with the
live from
queen,
Brick Media
with the
Arts
queen.
on Fulton Street
Boom.
in the heart of Brooklyn, best city in the world. Sorry.
I'm from
We
home.
come on the first and third Wednesday every month at 6 p.m. Check us out. And check us out on YouTube. Until next time, peace.
Bye.